Over the last few days, I've seen troubling news about the war in Ukraine. And when I saw the images of the mighty Kerch Bridge, that's the bridge that Russia built connecting Russia to Crimea, which is a multi-billion-dollar bridge. It's a rail bridge and an automobile bridge, and it's not just a strategic piece of infrastructure. It is full of political pride for Vladimir Putin. He personally inaugurated the bridge. When I saw that bridge was destroyed, I wouldn't even call it a military attack because it was not by jet fighters or a missile boat or anything like that. It was a truck bomb, frankly, terrorist style. I think that's what you'd have to call it. And in fact, it sounds like the driver of the truck did not know what he was driving. Ukrainian authorities took credit for the explosion, which I suppose means they take the blame for killing the man who was in the truck and those who were blown up by it. I found that shocking and audacious and bold, and I suppose it's the kind of thing when you do when you are in a total war. But I am deeply worried about the reaction that may come from Russia. This comes on the heels of another dramatic attack against Russian infrastructure, the explosion of their Nord Stream undersea natural gas pipeline, which was detonated by a massive trove of explosives. No one has definitively taken credit or blame by that, but I think the conventional wisdom is that something so sophisticated and so major could only have been done by a government entity. And the list of governments whose militaries could pull that off is quite limited. And then there's just, that little video of Joe Biden saying, don't you worry, that pipeline, we can take it out of commission if we want. Here's Joe Biden saying that a few months ago.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
So I was getting nervous. I mean, I was nervous when that Nord Stream pipeline was blown up. I'm nervous when the Russian bridge was blown up, because these things they're brilliant tactical victories on the part of Ukraine, or if it's the United States or the CIA or mercenaries, we don't quite know who's done these things. They're brilliant. They're devastating, absolutely. And it seems like Ukraine and whatever other militaries are operating there. We know, for example, the CIA confirmed to the New York Times that they are on the ground in Ukraine helping direct the use of their modern weaponry. Russia is having setbacks, and it's actually retreating in some parts. But that scares me because, unlike a traditional or conventional foe, Russia still has nuclear weapons. And an angry, embarrassed, humiliated, rebuked Vladimir Putin still has access to those nuclear weapons, whether it's a tactical nuclear weapon in the theater of war or something else. I'm getting a little nervous about it, and I see that the bellicosity has come to Canada. Let me start by showing you this terrifying video by Vladimir Zelensky, the former actor who is now the president of Ukraine. Here he is calling for NATO countries to proactively attack Russia itself. He wants NATO to attack Russia. He wants to end the 80 years of mutually assured destruction, the architecture of deterrence, of mutual deterrence. He says NATO should attack Russia. Take a look at this. How do you feel about this?
Що повинна робити НАТО? Унеможливлювати застосування Росією ядерної зброї. Але, що важливо, я ще раз звертаюсь до міжнародної спільноти. Як це було до 24-го? Превентивні удари, щоб вони знали, що з ними буде, якщо вони застосують. А не навпаки, чекати ядерних ударів Росію, щоб потім сказати, ах, ти так, ну ось тримай від нас. Переглянути застосування свого тиску. Ось я вважаю, що повинна робити НАТО. Переглянути порядок застосування.
It makes me nervous when someone who is a serious person, the president of Ukraine, who obviously has the ear of many Western leaders, is calling on NATO countries to attack a nuclear-armed Russia. Does that make you nervous at all? Well, here's Justin Trudeau tweeting in reaction to a Russian attack that he stands loyally by Ukraine and will give military assistance to Ukraine. This is new for Justin Trudeau, I should remind you. Justin Trudeau used to hate the military just like his old man. You might recall that very shortly after Trudeau became Prime Minister in 2015, he withdrew our CF-18s from the war against ISIS, something that the U.S. and Obama in particular asked him not to do. The President of the United States, Barack Obama, said, please do not withdraw your fighter jets from the war on ISIS. But he did. He was such a peacenik. In fact, I don't know if you remember this clip. He was asked by CBC's Don Newman about what role Canada's military should play, and he made this joke about generals who wanted to whip out their CF-18s and show you how big they were. Take a listen to this guy.
You referenced Jean Chretien in the second Iraq War, where he said, the proof is the proof is the proof, and then he said, I don't see the proof, so we're not going. But also in the first Iraq War, 1991, the Liberal Party at first was going to oppose the CF-18s, which were actually flying a non-combat role, but they were flying patrol over the Persian Gulf. And then they reversed their position, and they did it basically for politics. And I'm wondering if you think Mr. Harper wants you to vote against the resolution because he thinks that's to his political advantage, are you not playing into his hands if, even on a principled matter, and I take the principles and I think they're very important ones, but at the same time, politics is politics, and on a principled matter, you may have to put water in your wine and think, what are the political consequences of this?
In a room like this, it's easy to say politics is politics and we have to do this. And that's one of the problems that happens in rooms like this in the Ottawa bubble. We forget about Canadians. We think about tactical angles and how we might look to the press gallery or what our opponents might say about us. And that, quite frankly, has led Canadian politics to being in the position of having a record level of disenfranchised, disinterest, cynical voters. I'm sorry. Leadership moments are not about making the easy decision that goes along with things. It's about taking a stand on the values and the principles. And if there's anything the Liberal Party should have learned over the past years, it's that Canadians need to know where we stand. And Canadians need to trust us. So politics is secondary to me.
So will you be Jean Chrétien, though? You still want to see the proof is the proof is the proof? Or are you pretty well made up your mind that it would be better for us to stay in a non-combat role?
I haven't made up my mind, but the onus is on Mr. Harper to demonstrate that a shift from a non-combat role that we've established right now to a combat role is the right thing for Canada, the right thing for Canadians, but also the right thing for the international community. There are an awful lot of things that Canada can and should be doing. I mean, think about Canada's reputation around the world and what we've done around refugees. Whether it be the Vietnamese boat people, whether it be the Ismailis in Uganda, in East Africa, whether it be even more recently the Tamil community fleeing a civil war in Sri Lanka. Canada has been a place that draws in and helps refugees in a significant and serious way. Now, in this situation, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of displaced peoples in the region who aren't looking to all, leave the region. That's where their homes are. They need support to get through this very, very difficult time. Canada has a capacity and an expertise in doing just that. Why aren't we talking more about that? Why aren't we talking more about the kind of humanitarian aid that Canada can and must be engaged in, rather than, trying to whip out our CF-18s and show them how big they are? It just doesn't work like that in Canada.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.